Fresh off of his 100th career win at UCLA, Mick Cronin, UCLA men's basketball coach, joining us on the Bruin Insider Show. For Nick Koop, I'm Bryan Fenley. Mick, I know you've got such a busy day. We appreciate a few minutes of your time. Thanks for joining us.
New venue right here.
Yeah, I love it.
Better than your closet.
It is. It is. Way back. We don't want to go back to COVID. And,
I don't even want to remember COVID.
No.
For those who aren't aware, sometimes we had to get very innovative with where we did the show and where we did interviews. Nick might have used his closet.
Dedicated to the acoustics,
yes.
I must say.
I might have used the
very
kitchen.
Dedicated.
Yeah.
Speaking of somebody who's really dedicated, Jaime Jaquez in the NBA and what he is doing right now.
No surprise.
No surprise to you. What was the last thing you told him?
Confidence. You know, that he was – I tried to give him confidence. That I told him because he waited and he let his game evolve and get ready, that he's almost like unlike every other rookie who gets drafted in the NBA off of talent and potential. He's ready to play. And he's ready to play. He was ready to play from day one. So it was just a matter for him staying healthy. He had been banged up. He had a groin and shoulder in the summer, groin in the preseason. Another thing I think that there's a term in professional sports that if you're not available, you're liable. You know, you're a liability. But your best ability is your availability, because in pros, they got 82 games now. You know, they need guys that can play injured, that are not going to be out all night, okay, because they're not college teams with curfews now, you know. And Jaime's best ability at UCLA, besides his talent, was his availability. I mean, he played through many injuries. And that, you know, there's a message for young people that get the sniffles and want to sit out. It's just a different generation. Where Jaime was raised old school. The greatest parents ever, that he was taught, you know, to be available, and that, you know, there's a difference between being a little banged up and being injured and you can't play. So I think that's factored into why they wanted him so bad, but not a surprise at all that he's doing well, because his game was ready to be in the NBA. He was ready from day one. There was no question about it.
And it's been so cool watching him doing what he's doing. And now for your team this year, obviously a whole different look.
Yeah.
But what's it been like just kind of getting all these new guys together and trying to make a team out of it?
Well, look, it's a challenge. But, you know, the tough part about our business also can be the fun part, right? You know, there's changeover. People, Tiger should come back. No, he shouldn't have. Okay, Tiger's got a degree. He was here 5 years. Enough's enough. Now, I would have loved it if, you know, I wouldn't have told him not to. But the guy wants to start his life, you know, and you only get so many years of good knees and pro ball, you know. So you got to get your career started so you can elevate to make more money. So the change is a challenge, but it's also exciting, you know, because new guys get opportunity. You know, so many of our guards get opportunity now where the ball would have been in one guy's hands most of the time. So that is the challenge, but it is exciting. It keeps you young. If you like teaching, which I enjoy practice much more than the games. And I take more pride out of the development of players as people and as players than I do out of our wins. That's why when you mention wins to me, you know, I just kind of brush it off. You know, my win, you know, Jaime being where he is a much more of a victory for me than winning 100 games here. So it's, but freshmen are tough. It's, you know, a lot of teaching to do. You know, there's a difference between teaching first grade and fifth grade, right?
Yeah.
First grade, you got to teach them how to listen. You know, I just said that, right? You know how many times? Yeah, I just said that. You know, they haven't been forced to be accountable and to pay attention. They've been taught things, but when they come from different levels where they're exponentially better than anybody else, whether they pay attention or not, the guy's playing them. We're here, it's not an option. Mm-hmm. So they've never had to concentrate at the level they have to concentrate. So, but again, this goes back to what you love about college coaching, is teaching a boy to become a man. And that's why Jaime's ready, because he's a man. He came here as a boy, but you can't become a man in 7 months. And now a lot of guys, there's a lot of boys in the NBA. And that's not to say some guys shouldn't leave early, but it's tough being a boy in a man's world. We got a lot of boys on this team, and, because Kenny's your only senior, Lazar's your only junior. I mean, as good as Dembona is, he's still only a sophomore, guys. The guy's 19 years old. So we are unbelievably young, but we have talent, and we have a lot of good kids on our team.
Mick Cronin is our guest on the Bruin Insider Show. You've got a lot of great kids on this team, and you said something really interesting, because there's this old school toughness that you bring, and with this new generation that can be challenging. But how have you been able to harness that and allow these players to really lock on to what you're saying in a way where you are who you are, you get what you see, and it's that realness that you have that even from the outside, Nick and I love that you bring, and then certainly your players feel that too.
Yeah, but the realness can taste bad sometimes. Guys aren't used to eating their vegetables. I have a saying I try to tell the guys that that what you're avoiding is what you need. You're avoiding. As soon as you get tired, you just give up. But what you need is to learn how to never get tired and to fight through that, or you're never going to become the player you want to become. So we all need what we avoid to get to become, and that's what the people that really achieve in the world do. They understand that, and they have, the EQ to be able to realize their weaknesses. And so it's just a teaching process for them. And you have to understand that it's not their fault. That's the other thing. It's not their fault, okay, because they haven't been taught. You never get upset with a player for something that he hasn't been trained to do. So, but you just can't train a guy overnight. So that training process takes time. And, confidence takes time. And people say, well, you should be confident. Well, if you never made a 5-foot putt, why would you be confident? You miss them all. So, guys need playing time to get confident and comfortable being in bigger games and realizing that I'm not coming off the bench for Tiger. And then what happens is you get more comfortable and your offense will come. So we've tried to really pound that we got to win with defense, and we got to become a much better rebounding team starting this week, because it's just going to take us time offensively, because we just don't have enough guys with minutes played and enough guys with enough shot attempts to where they're just going to be comfortable right away on the offensive end. It's going to have to rotate. Different guys are going to have to get hot different games for us on that end of the floor. So but we've got to learn you got to be able to win, though. It's, while all this is going on, you want to still win, right? You don't just concede victory. So we got some tough games, obviously, coming up, possibly in Maui. And it's going to be good for us, because guys are going to get a taste back of reality. The realness comes in the form of your opponent. Everybody was tough until Mike Tyson hit them.
Yeah, really.
He used to say, everybody got a plan when they fight me until they take one, until he hits them. The plan's out the window. Is run.
Well, it reminds me of something you said after Friday's game, that you're going to need to try things with this team. And we saw it with the big lineup, and you ultimately go smaller in the second half. But early in the season, I think you alluded to it, that you are going to have to try some things out, but there's also kind of finding that balance as well. What do you anticipate that whole thing's going to be like for you?
Well, Adai Mara is going to eventually be starting. For us to get where we want to go, when I'm in there with them every day, you start evaluating, you're going to have to score, and he's your best offensive player probably if you're in practice, So it's for him, when you play these bye games early and you play teams that's just going to put 5 guys behind the 3-point line, it's tough for him. that, that's not reality. He's playing, an ACB league against 7-foot, 240-pound guys, smoking cigarettes, drinking vodka at halftime. I mean, it was a different world. They're not running around guard the three-point line. So some of these bye games are just they do put a lot of pressure on how to defend player movement, so that it is good for you, but it's bad for you in the fact that you're not. When you play Pac-12 teams, they're going to have big guys. They're going to post up. He's got to get better on post defense. He's not really going to have to run around and guard three-point shooters. So, but you're right. You got to. We're still trying different things, and we've had different issues. Look, Alon Fablou's a really good player because he defends and rebounds right now. But falling off a scooter and messing, really basically taking the palm of your thumb there and losing all the skin on your shooting hand is not easy. And so he's been sick a couple times. So this is just all things that teams go through. So it's just grow. You just got to win and grow. You really haven't seen the true Jan Vide yet. But I tell everybody just look around because there's McDonald's All-Americans not even getting in the game for certain teams. So it takes time with young players. It just does.
Last one from me, Coach, and Mick Cronin is with us on the Bruin Insider Show. What I love about you is in that realness we were talking about, you have this great sense of humor, and it's just who you are. That personality, it radiates. Do you realize, and to what extent, just how that's so endearing to people, just you and being you?
What happens is it really worked on my daughter, Sammy, until she was about 15. Now it's my sense of humor is just eye roll. All I get is eye rolls, So no matter, I tried a joke at dinner last night. It did, didn't fly. Nothing fly. With teenage girls, all my humor gets flushed at home. So I have to, nobody pays attention to it there. So I have to bring it here to you guys. No matter what I try to drop on her, even if I know she wants to laugh with a teenage girl, you just get the eye roll. So I got to bring it here all the time. Hey, look, man, we only live once. I think you got to do a good job of self-check. With your, you think you have problems, and I'm pretty good at this one. We all think we got 99 problems. But if somebody with a real health problem, they only got one. Yeah. So I'm pretty good with that. I'm pretty aware. As competitive and intense as I am, I do know, look, I hold these young kids are trying to chase their dreams. And, so when you see that, sometimes what I say is planned. It's not emotional. I'm trying to send a certain message. So before I walk into that press conference, I know what I'm going to say regardless of what questions are asked. Regardless, I'm going to send a certain message in this press conference. In other press conferences, there's no message that needs to be sent, so I'm just going to be funny and get out because I'm hungry. So when you become a veteran, you control the narrative in the press conference. You can control the message. But if you don't have some fun, I mean, what are we all doing this for? There's people out there with real problems. As intense as I am, it's a basketball game, and their lives are more important than their basketball because I tell them if you don't develop discipline and character, no matter how much success you have, you're going to end up in a bad spot. No matter how much money you might make or basketball success, if you don't develop as a person, if you don't develop some discipline, you'll end up broke, no matter how much money you make. And that's proven. So there's more serious things at times, but you gotta laugh when you can.
Well, the good news is I've seen it with my younger sister and my dad. It'll come back around for you once those teenage years pass.
Yeah.
So it'll come back around. One guy I want to get your thoughts on. We talked to him a few weeks ago, Lazar Stafnovich. There's what he does on the court, obviously. His shooting is rebounding. But he comes in here, and outside of Kenny Nuba, he's the most experienced college basketball player, right, in terms of games played.
And a great example for our young guys.
Yeah.
So like twofold. Obviously, you can see he rebounds, he can score. We need his voice. He's one of the smartest players I've ever coached. But what you don't see is the example he sets for our young people. His diet is disciplined with his diet, his discipline with his sleep, his discipline with his preparation, his discipline with his training. I mean, heck, you get to my age, all my lower back problems would be solved if I just had if I had his discipline to stretch like they tell me to, right? But you don't. As older you get, you stretch once, you feel better. Every day his routine is that of a professional. It is unbelievably impressive. And so it's great for our young guys, since we have so many, to see that. Because we lost that with Jaime and David. They were great in that area. Obviously, they're gone. So Lazar gives us a guy like that. And it's a luxury. We really needed that. Well, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
You being the youngest team, you're probably going to see this year. So, aside from his basketball, which is obvious, you can see how much, he's rock solid. I mean, he doesn't really have a weakness on the floor.
He's got a great personality too.
Oh,
by
great
the way.
guy.
Yeah.
So bright.
Yeah,
He's so bright.
He's so bright.
Great parents, very successful people, very mature people, tremendous parents. He's really excited that they're for the first time, they're coming to see him from
awesome.
I think from maybe mid-December for a couple weeks. He's really excited. People don't realize, when you coach these kids, the international kids, and for me it's been mostly kids from the continent of Africa, from all the different countries. You take it for granted. These kids' parents never see them play, literally never. So versus, local guys or parents are at every game, and then you go up, play at Oregon State, and turn around, they're at the road game. So, I'm telling you, when Lazar's so excited that his parents are getting to see him play college basketball, you can't imagine how excited he is. So that's pretty cool.
Pretty cool was having you on with us,
All
as
right,
always. Mick Cronin on the Bruin Insider Show. For Nick Koop, I'm Bryan Fenley. Thanks so much, Coach.
It's good to see you guys.
Likewise.
Always
See
a
you
pleasure.
too.
Always a
Appreciate your
pleasure.
time.
I put in for your raise, but no, they didn't. Hold on, let me check. Still no response.
I would have thought you would have had more pull.
You would think so.
Yeah, you would think.
But the Pac-12 would still exist.
Yeah.